The ICC. Do you remember the ICC? International Court of Justice. This was created after World War II with the goal of bringing people into accountability of the people that do negative and bad things in the world, like unaliving people, genocidal movement, and all that type of stuff. Many countries signed into this agreement, into coming together. So it's very simple. If your leader, your president does something wrong, and you have the ability to have him arrested, you can get him arrested and get him sent to The Hague. The ICC is based in The Hague. And many presidents, many leaders in the world have been sent to the ICC for negative things they had done in the past in order for them to pay the price. But very interestingly, something has never occurred. It's Europeans and American leaders that do negative things. They are never sent to the ICC. Well, the Filipino president, former Philippine president Duterte, Rodrigo, was arrested on Tuesday, on 11th, after landing in Manila airport. He was arrested under the warrant of the International Criminal Court. Former president, I'm sure you heard about this president. He was very, very funny and very serious, okay? He did a lot of things that many people qualified as brutal. His goal was very simple. He did not want any drugs in his country.
Make no doubt about it. If you destroy the generation of Filipinos coming up to replace us, I will kill you.
Because he didn't want any drugs or any drug lord. He did everything he could to have it stopped. And the goal was get the drug lord arrested and get them shot.
Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. Now, there's a 3 million drug addicts. There are. I'd be happy to slaughter them. Adik ko dyan.
If you know of any addicts, go ahead and kill them yourself, as getting their parents to do it would be too painful.
Ikaw ang pumatay.
Get the drug dealers and the consumers arrested and shot. Because at that specific time, Philippines was going through a very difficult time. Many, many people turning into drugs. And obviously, when you do drugs, you do a lot of negative things. When you're addicted to drugs, you start stealing. When you're addicted to drugs, you're probably going to rob somebody so you can do the drugs. So in order to avoid somebody else's child getting hurt because you have an addiction, they chose to have you unalived instead of having that innocent person unalived. Well, now he's not president anymore. Things are happening. They've arrested him. They've stopped him. Anti-drug campaign.
On the basis for detention. So what is the law and what is the crime that I committed? The legal basis for my being here, as apparently I was brought here not of my own volition. It's somebody else's.
Duterte ordered an aggressive crackdown on illegal drug use and trade, specifically targeting drug dealers, pushers, and users. The campaign was framed as a way to protect communities and fight illegal drug trade that Duterte claimed was rampant and causing societal harm. So the man has been arrested by the brand new president, and he's going to be sent to The Hague to be condemned for crime against humanity and many other things.
We did this because Interpol asked us to do it. And we have commitments to them, and we lived up to those commitments.
Duterte's war on drugs faced widespread condemnation from international bodies such as the United Nations and Human Rights Watch, which accused the Filipino government of committing human rights violations and conducting extrajudicial killings. Duterte openly rejected criticism, asserting that he was only defending the people from the scourge of drugs, and he often dismissed international pressure. So that's what it is. Now, how did the Filipinos feel about this? Watch this.
When he was president, things were peaceful. There was less crime and there was order when he was in power. He did not deserve this treatment.
Now, many Filipinos agree with him. They supported the war on drugs. Obviously, what community lacked drugs? Don't tell me Nigerians. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody lacks drugs. So, the Filipinos supported the war on drugs, believing it was necessary to get rid of the country's drugs, which they believe were the root of cause of the societal problems, including crime, poverty, and violence. So drugs come with crime, poverty and violence, because you need to steal to feed this need that you constantly have. Now, my other question is this one. They bring in this person to justice because he wanted to fix his country. I mean, don't every country have their own rules and their own policies? Surely, if you go to Dubai, you can't necessarily go to Dubai and dress the way you want in specific areas. I mean, you know the Dubai of, I can go to Dubai and have fun. That's a touristic Dubai. If you go to the old Dubai, you cannot wear your mini skirt or your mini short or whatever. You can't show your chest. They will have you arrested. If you go to some countries in Arab countries, you can't go there as an unmarried couple. You're going to get arrested. Yeah, you're going to get arrested. When you go to a hotel in some of these countries, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, you need to provide your marriage license, whatever you call it, marriage certificate. You've got to have your marriage certificate as proof. Now, if you don't have that, you go to jail. In some of these countries, you can't, as a man, like another man. They're going to unalive you. It's known, it's not a secret, because that's their policy. Now, my question is this one. When are they going to call those countries into ICC to judge them because they did things that are not good for the world? So why are they not calling these people from these countries? Why are they selectively choosing specific people to go? Let me tell you something about Robert Mugabe, president of Zimbabwe. Many years ago, he spoke about the ICC.
This is not the headquarters of ICC anyway. And we don't want it in this region at all. We didn't sign it. Zimbabwe. We said no, we don't submit ourselves to justice outside our country. What for? They are set up by governments outside. The European governments, they pay these NGOs to be their informers about our actions, how we run our countries.
He spoke about the United Nations. He said it's just an instrument to manipulate the rest of the world.
Supposed to be free, there are 54 countries. We come to the United Nations, it's ceremonial. Every year, September, we are there. We pay lots of money to go there. And to the General Assembly, we make speeches, we go back home, year in, year out. But the bosses in the Security Council say, you shall never have the powers that we have as permanent members. Reform the Security Council. We will fight a fight for our own identity, for our own integrity and personality as Africans. We are Africans.
People that are sent to the ICC for judgment are generally people from Africa and other poor countries. You will never see a European person. You will see them in the ICC. Now, are there no reason for Europeans to be called in the ICC? Do you remember this guy? His name is Tony Blair from Britain. He did a lot of atrocious things in Iraq. And the matter of fact is he recognized it. He acknowledged that they made a mistake. What mistake did they make? Well, they came and lied to people saying Iraq has got a weapon of mass destruction. Therefore, they need to intervene and destroy the country. They went into the country. They unalived millions of people. Innocent. And these were not drug dealers or any of that thing. Who called them to ICC? Who took them over there? Nobody has done that. This other guy, George Bush, he came to the United Nations and said, you're either with us or you're against us. You're either with us or you're with the enemy.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
So he says you're either with us or with the enemy. What level of manipulation is that? So you're either with us or you are with the enemy. So you either agree with me or you are the enemy. So that means, in other words, what I'm saying is absolute truth. That is how a lot of people got unalive in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Who took them to court? They actually acknowledged that they were wrong.
Imagine what the world would be like with him in power. The idea is to try to help change the Middle East. Now look, part of the reason we went into Iraq was the main reason we went into Iraq at the time was we thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't, but he had the capacity to make weapons of mass destruction. But I also talked about the human suffering in Iraq, and I also talked the need to advance a freedom agenda.
How do we go about this? Was the Philippines a signatory to the ICC? Yes, they were, until 2016. And this president refused, and he removed this country, just like Robert Mugabe removed this country and some other countries from the ICC. Now, what does the ICC say? The ICC says, even though you retract your country from the ICC, you will still be accountable for the things you did whilst your country was part of the ICC. What kind of a law is that? Does that apply to America? I mean, in this country, you know the country you don't name. There is a country you don't name. When you name that country, your YouTube video is shadow banned. You know what shadow banning is. It's simply, if you have 1 million followers, your YouTube video will be distributed to 5,000 followers because they don't want you to reach many people with that information. Now, the country you don't name do a lot of things that are very, very, very nasty. Who has gone to the ICC for that? Do you need a special investigation for that? That shows you that the law and justice doesn't exist. Justice, in the way that we expect it, is just a tool that people use when they have power. They will give you justice if you belong to them, if you're one of them. If you're not one of them, you won't get justice. And this president was not a very easy person to deal with because he wanted to put Philippines first. Okay, now, this is going to create mayhem. The former president's name is Duterte. His successor's name is Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Now, this guy is a son of a former president. Now, the vice minister's name is Sara Duterte, who is the daughter of the former president. Now, there's a lot of questions here. Why would the president just let out his former president go to the ICC? Did they have problems, family issues? Did that previous president have problem with his father, perhaps? Let me know if you know about this, because his vice president is the daughter of this president being sent to the ICC. I'm very interested to know how you feel about this. And should African countries retract from the ICC? Many have done it already. They're not interested. They don't want to be part of it. America is not part of the ICC. Israel is not part of the ICC. Russia is not part of the ICC. Even though they still wanted Vladimir Putin to be arrested. I don't know how crazy these people were. Was Robert Mugabe right to say the ICC was constructed for poor nations so you can respond whenever you stand for your country, whenever you make a choice to fix your country? Like, who's going to respond to the people in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria, and all these other countries? Why do you go after a person through which maybe 6,000 people were unalived? I'm sure there were some innocent people. There's always cases of that. Okay, but was he doing something absolutely wrong for his country? What's better, getting these people that are causing mayhem, causing violence, crime, and all these abductions, getting them out, or allowing them to live freely and happily, even if they're abducting, destroying, violating, and killing other people? Now, many Africans have been arrested in the Philippines and some other Asian countries for doing illegal things, especially drugs and human trafficking. It's crazy. I don't know how people just make a choice. I'm going to go do drugs in a foreign land in Asia and hoping to come back alive. This is just insane. How do you get that courage? I don't know. In recent months, several African nationals have been arrested in the Philippines on charges ranging from drug trafficking to fraud. Let's just see how many Africans, or just a little taste of which Africans have been arrested. In January 2025, drug smuggling incident. 2 South African nationals were arrested at NEAA. Authorities in Naniho Aquino International Airport intercepted 2 South African nationals attempting to smuggle approximately 14 kilograms of chabu methamphetamine, worth nearly 98 million Filipino peso. That's about $1.7 million. The suspect, who arrived via Emirates Airline from Johannesburg with a layover to Dubai, concealed the drug in their luggage. They claim to have been recruited by a Nigerian associate in South Africa to deliver the narcotic in the Philippines. I know a lot of people are shocked. You don't expect South African to be involved in drug smuggling and drug dealing. Well, obviously, there had to be some Nigerian name in there. I know that's obviously now they're going to find excuses saying it's because of the Nigerian. Anyway, it's crazy stuff. And it's not limited to South African or Nigerians. A Cameroonian national arrested for fraud on January 27, 2025. The Immigration Bureau apprehended a 52-year-old Cameroonian national Oscar Oji Mbang on Terminal 1 upon his arrival from Singapore. Mbang was wanted for fraud, especially for allegedly swindling a creditor, and had been under a whole departure order since 2020. So playing with creditors, getting money for credit, then using it and disappearing. Some of those stuff. I mean, there are plenty of Africans in jail, rusting in jails in Asia. I even personally know one person that I knew from childhood that was arrested in Thailand for crazy things. You know, we had to contribute money to get him out. Crazy stuff. So let me know how you feel about this. Was this person wrong to try fighting drugs and illegality in his country? Should he be taken to ICC? I mean, was he trying to analyze people for free? Probably not. Did he make mistakes? Yes, surely he made mistakes. How much mistakes do people do in wars? I mean, it doesn't justify the death of people, but was there a greater cause? There was. Should he be taken to ICC for that? Let me know how you feel about that. Bless.